What's up, guys? It is Dan from FightWave, and today I'm joined by somebody I'm extremely excited to speak with. Somebody who needs no further introduction if you're a fan of the Contenders series. And you guys can't see it right now, but he was doing a little bit of shadow boxing behind the camera. I'm joined by none other than Billy Goff, who is coming off a sensational victory over Shimon Smotriski on the Contenders series. Slated to face Kinoshita at UFC Singapore. Oh my god. How are we doing today, Billy?
Damn good. How you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal, man. And obviously, this is an interview I'm excited to do. I'm a big fan of you and what you've done thus far as a competitor. So first and foremost, I gotta say, looking forward to this one. Obviously, how you feeling right now, man? You're coming off, just doing some stuff, some chores. How has everything been?
Pretty good. It's I'm excited for this next one. It's been a bit of time off, but I'm excited to get back in the cage and get going again, being more active. And it's just keep cranking away. It's why I'm like a little over 6 weeks out, and it's just a matter of time every day. Just
No,
putting
yeah.
in more and more.
No, yeah, absolutely. And obviously something that stood out to me was obviously you were slated to fight Demba Garimbo and then you had to pull out due to an injury. And now you're slated to fight another killer in the form of, I have to look at my phone to say the name because I don't want to butcher it. But Yusaku
You're good.
Kinoshita, who's also a great competitor out of, I think, Japan, if I remember correctly. It's a good matchup. I think a really good debut for you. Obviously the UFC is not doing you any favors, making you go to Singapore for your debut. But talk to me about obviously the matchup, what you think about it, and obviously just the recovery, because knee injuries as a whole are always just grimy, nasty little things. So talk to me just about how the recovery's been.
Absolutely, it's been good. It's been long. I'm good now. I've been training at 100% for months now. Just with you have pains, aches and stuff, tightness. The biggest issue is that my calves get really tight, and that's what is giving me a lot of the problems. So I'm constantly foam rolling them. I seeing kinesiologists to help me with them. So it's a constant battle against it, but I'm really good. My knees not bothered. So I had to get both knees done, and there's not really any situations where like I can squat ass to grass. I was doing that today. I can grapple. There's no positions I really avoid. I can do everything. So it's not a hindrance. It's just sometimes it's annoying. I've been doing a lot of ice baths lately though, so that's been helping with a lot of the aches and pains. Um, so now I've reluctantly, I used to not really put too much effort into it at all, but I made a huge change and putting a lot more focus on recovery, and that's helped me a lot.
No, yeah, definitely. And I mean, even just for somebody at your age, you're only 25 years of age. You have multiple mixed martial arts bouts under your belt. Obviously, 10 fights deep into your career. You've been a champ. You've done a lot. I feel like at your age, I mean, you look at the emphasis on recovery. I feel like going into your career, the longer stages, it's more of an emphasis as time goes on. But more importantly, for you, just being able to get back to 100%, I can imagine that's only done you dividends and heaps, just being able to train at full capacity and really getting back to some of that momentum you had ahead of the injury. Because ahead of the injury, you six successive wins in a row. You're running a 6-5 winning streak right now against some of the best fighters in the world. Talk to me just about, obviously, the shift in kind of mentality, because you started your career out 2-2, and then you've been riding a 6-5 winning streak since. What kind of prompted that switch, if you had to attribute it to anything, and what do you think was the catalyst for this to happen?
So I had at one point in my like, and I can't attribute my losses to it because that's not fair. It's not fair to me or to my opponents. But I wasn't in the greatest mental space because of some people that I was keeping around in my life and the choices I was making. Um, and I remember after my second loss, like the aftermath of everything, I just remembered like realized like, oh, I got to make a change. Like this is just I got to start because my corners, my teammates were telling me nonstop, like, hey, like this person's not good for you. Get them out of your life. Like you're fucked up at training. You're not in a good headspace. Like you need to figure your shit out. Um, and it was a great learning lesson because now I'm never gonna let something else get in the way of fighting again. Like, this is what I want. I want to be the best in the world. I can't let something else pull me away. If something else is pulling me away, then that's got to go. I can't stay around. So once I did that, took a little bit of time, got myself back into a good space, just started moving. Shit started working a little better.
No, yeah, definitely. And I always like to say, for fighters, it's just so important the people you surround yourself with. It does compose and make a big difference on your fighting career. So having good people around you obviously has attributed to the success you've had as of late. And you look at obviously the Contender Series bout, a theme that stood out to me. And I actually just spoke to your opponent from the Contender Series bout, Shimon, because he has a fight ahead of this month. I think in August he has a bout. What stood out to me about that is you and him are two very young fighters coming up at a very early point in your career. Obviously, you're only 25 years of age, and the success that you've amounted at 25, it's something that anyone can behold and be like, damn, he's fucking done something. But what stood out to me is obviously it's a pressure to perform on the Contender Series, and off the expectation of the episode prior, obviously the episode prior to your episode, there was a little bit of pressure coming into the Contender Series for you guys to perform and have to do something. Talk to me about just that experience of going on the Contender Series and getting the result that you did and just everything riding into that week, because the pressure on that week alone, I think, would have been an ultimate, higher than regular, regional scene bouts. So talk to me about that.
Certainly, I mean, like, I wasn't really thinking about it as much during the moment, but looking back on it, I was definitely shooken up, like a little more nervous, just because I was out in Vegas. This was my first time I ever fought flying somewhere. Uh, First time now I'm getting a chance at the UFC. Um, First person that I'm fighting. Well, actually, no, that's not true. The I'm fighting a guy who's younger, who's hungry. I never really thought too much about the previous episode. My coach was telling me about it all the time. Dexter, he was saying, "Listen, yeah, like, you get to be like, there was that shitty episode and they're all unhappy. You get to be the first next fight. You are the next fight to change that." And I couldn't have done a better job at switching up the pace. Um, but I was like, Dana came in the back and he was giving a speech to everybody. And at that point, I was already like, "Listen, I'm fighting in 25 minutes. I don't give a fuck what you got to say, dude." Um, the like I didn't really care about coming in and putting on a performance for the Contender Series or Dana. Like, it matters, but while I'm fighting and while I'm getting ready for a fight, I don't give a shit what you guys think. All it is I'm gonna go out there and fight my ass off, and I'm gonna try to finish you. That's just the way I fight. Is I try to put people out. I try to do damage constantly, and uh, that's what they like. So it kind of just worked out.
No, yeah, absolutely, and obviously a phenomenal outing, a phenomenal performance for you, which ended up netting you the contract. And you mentioned obviously talking to your coach Dexter at Team Dexter Valturo. Talk to me about just what it's been like to have him in your corner, and like you mentioned just a little bit earlier, your coach is really emphasizing having good people around you. What has it meant for you to have somebody like him in your corner and really be a positive influence on your career and just you as a person, I should add.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I am, in a lot of ways, the man that I am today because of him. Not just as a fighter. Like, he's taught me everything I've known as a fighter. He's made me what I am as a fighter. But just being around him, and like, I look at him in a lot of ways as like a dad. Like, it's just, my dad's not in my life anymore, and I've had several people that have kind of stepped up and been that positive role model. And at the point that I was when I started training and meeting my coach, and like the way that he was and what he did for me, it just it worked. Like, now I hope to make him proud more so than almost anyone else in my life. Um, just because I respect him so highly, and I know how much love he has for me, and that has helped me grow mentally, physically, and just emotionally as a human and as a fighter. And I could never pay that back. I could never do enough to make up for that.
No, yeah, definitely. And oftentimes, when people are training with people like, like for you, Coach Dexter, having somebody in your corner that really is like a role model to somebody you look up to, somebody you can confide in, more importantly, for the outside parts of fighting. Obviously, fighting is the 10% of it, but the mental is 90% of it. Having people who understand the game, understand the toll that it takes on you mentally, it's all the more fulfilling to have those people with you on the journey. And when you say obviously paying him back, you really don't know how you can do it. I feel like you've done a spectacular job thus far in terms of netting back-to-back double championships. Across multiple promotions in that Connecticut northeastern U.S. region. At 25 years of age, Billy, you've showcased a capability in fighting that not a lot of American prospects have really shown. Champions across multiple promotions at 25 years of age, dude. You're probably, if not the highest, most coveted welterweight prospect from the States right now. I don't even think that's a debate because you've shown it in your body of work. So, and I mean, professionals across the board, veterans of this sport have labeled you as one of those best guys to keep an eye on moving forward. So, what does it mean for you to get the resounding respect of so many people from that region, and more importantly, from the fans? Because everyone's like, man, when's this guy going to debut? And obviously, the debut is set in stone. But what's it like to get that respect from the fan base and from the community?
It's very, it's not like, it's sort of like a reward, but it's confirmation that like I'm doing the right thing. Like this is all I'm I'm building myself as the fighter that I envision myself as. I'm going in the right direction. I want to be the best that's ever done it, and this is a great start to it. And to be able to like kind of, all right, now I can start kind of having a little more confidence in myself. Like I can have more confidence in my abilities because shit, like if everybody else is believing in me, I should too. And it's great. Like I love, one of my favorite things. Even though I don't really fight for the fans, but to have people reach out and say like, "Hey man, like I really look up to you. Like you're a huge inspiration. Just keep doing your thing." Like that means more to me than anything. Like that's amazing to be able. It's a privilege to be able to do that. To be able to be that for someone else. So to be a figure in other people's lives, fighters, fans, to where like, man, I really respect that guy. Uh, that's amazing. That's what I can be proud of in my life.
No, yeah, definitely. And more importantly, you mentioned being a force for good and being somebody that stands out to people and who people can look up to as a source of inspiration or someone to even talk to. I feel like just even you mentioning, obviously, the early adversities that you've endured in your life, just being a remarkable role model there, of kind of overcoming these adversities and making something of yourself, like you said, because it's a privilege to be able to do what we do and what we love as a career or as something that we can do just at will, like not many people get the opportunity, like in my position, to even be able to speak to the fighters, or not many people in your position get to be able to do what they love, which is the form of fighting. So it really puts a lot into perspective. And more importantly, I want to ask you, because for me, the adage that of the fighters are human beings first and foremost, and fighters second, is something that holds true in every facet of life. You're obviously a human being first and foremost. So I want to ask you, looking back and reflecting on the start of your career to now, what's a message you would maybe give to young Billy coming up in the circuit? Really, like you mentioned earlier, obviously surrounding yourself with good people, but is there anything else that stands out to you that you would maybe tell yourself coming up, or maybe you would tell a younger Billy in his teenage years getting into the sport?
Yeah. Uh, See,
I
it's
got him.
hard.
I got him thinking now.
Yeah. Because there's a couple different things. Like
No,
there's
yeah,
a
for
few
sure.
different huge progresses that I've made a huge amount of progress in like the last recent years. Um, I would say the biggest thing I've grown so far in my life, uh, is just be not so much as a fighter. It just helps you. Like when I was growing up, it was just there were so many things that I like looking back. There's so many things that you could have done. Like I wish I would have done this better. Wish I would have done more here or that more. But maybe you weren't in a great space. You weren't doing the right things because you weren't where you needed to be. And all that just kind of boils down to like I would tell myself like just be kinder to yourself. Like a little more love for yourself, a little more patience with yourself, and you'll take it so much further.
No, I mean,
Like
beautifully
that.
put. I mean, beautifully put, Billy. I mean, first and foremost, just loving yourself is such an important thing in this day and age, especially as men. We put such high expectations on ourselves to perform, and nowadays it's like it's very difficult to even in the sport of fighting, especially when people hold their skill sets to such high regard, and you don't perform the way you want to perform. It can often take a toll on the fighter. But I feel like appreciating the journey and appreciating the steps that the people you meet along the way, the opportunities that come as a result of it, and reflecting on all the good that the sport has brought or that something has brought you, it makes the journey a lot more fulfilling, and it makes going forward a lot easier. And I guess for you, what stands out about me, and I'm a little jealous because we got hikes here, but over there on the East Coast, you've got some beautiful waterfall hikes and waterfall trails. Just decompressing wise, obviously being out in nature and being out in the outdoors is something that I've seen you do quite a bit. Talk to me just about what it's like to decompress outside of fighting and go into the beautiful outdoors, because man, Connecticut's got some waterfalls for days. I mean, I look at the video of Glover and Pereira, Alex drowning Glover, and probably a trail that you've been on. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's hard to get out as much as I'd like. My teammate Jake Kasky, he goes out all the time. He goes out. He loves being out in nature, so he goes out all the time. He brings his dogs, and I wish I could go out as much as he does, but it's hard when you're doing a bunch of things and you're working. But I love it. Like I've been making it part of my schedule now, to where every Monday I go out and I go on a hike. I'd like to go down Bluff Point because I can hike to the end, and it's an easy walk, but I can walk to the end, then I can jump in the ocean and then walk back. So it's a little bit of ocean, a little bit of hiking. Um, but it's great, man. It's a great opportunity to just it's like meditating. It's a great opportunity to just be at peace and just be content. Like just be comfortable for a little while. You don't have to hold like there's no expectations. You're not gonna do anything wrong out here. Like you're not gonna you can't fuck anything up out here. Like you're good. Just be at peace with yourself and the world and just enjoy. Move your body.
No, yeah, definitely. And obviously, first and foremost, Billy, thank you so much for the opportunity for the quick chat, being able to pick your brain, and just have a good conversation all around. I always like to say I learn a lot more from these interviews than I do just putting them out there. I get a lot of perspective from the fighters, so I want to thank you for that first and foremost. And then obviously, you got a performance against Yusaku Kinoshita in August at UFC Singapore. I know you're probably not looking forward to the jet lag that's about to come your way going to Singapore, but I mean,
I I never get messed. I've never had jet lag.
oh really?
I've never flown this long, so I'm trying to get a nonstop flight there, and I'm trying to go out early enough to where I have days to recoup, just in case I do get hit with some jet lag. Like when I flew out to Vegas, didn't really. It was 8 hours, and I didn't feel anything. This is going to be 15 hours, so it's a lot more.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see, yeah. But I mean, talk to me just about obviously prospectively, you'd like to get a little bit active, I imagine, and get back some of that momentum that you had ahead of the injury. Talk to me just about any personal goals you have as Billy Goff, or any competitor goals you might have now that we're already halfway through 2023.
Yeah, no, I'd like to fight twice this year. Singapore, and then Madison Square Garden in November. That's the plan. But we'll see. I got to get through this. If I get through this without too many injuries, then November is more of a possibility. I wanted to fight on the Boston card and then the November card, so I didn't really have to travel at all. But it was hard to get a fight for the Boston one. But Singapore's sooner, and it's a fight. If not, I would have had to wait for a while, and I didn't really want to do that because I'm getting back into the swing of things, and I want to get going. So I'd like to fight twice this year. You can tell, I got some shit I need to paint in my house.
No, yeah.
I got some caulking I need to do. So I've got all those things, and honestly, the biggest thing right now is just I'm in a great place. I'm working on a lot of like my mental, physical recovery. Like I'm working on a lot of things right now. and I'm making progress. And it's just about staying consistent. Just stay consistent through this one, the next one, and just all of them. Just keep a nice routine. I've never really had a routine for fights. I've always kind of just whatever it is we're doing, what
YOLO.
we're doing. Um, and like I never really warmed up too much. I kind of just walked around through some mitts. That was about it. Didn't even really stretch that much. Um, so now I'm starting to like, all right, let's envision a warm up plan. Let's envision something that I'm going to kind of get myself a little more up. Um, I've been trying to mentally prepare myself for the anxiety of the fight, the nerves and everything. I've been working on my shit now, and it's all one big journey. I'm getting there.
You're getting there, and it's all coming together beautifully. I mean, thank you so much, Billy, for your time, for the opportunity to speak with you. And to the fans at home watching, do be sure to check out Billy Goff on social media. I'll be linking his social medias in the description down below. If you DM him, he might send you a Papega meme. Who knows? He might send you some Pepe memes. Who knows? You might get a gift in the DMs, just saying. But fighting August 26th against Yusaku Kinoshita, UFC Singapore. Do not miss this fight. It's going to be a fight of the night or a performance of the night, whichever it may be. Just know Billy Goff's going to probably get that 50K, all things considered. It's been me, Dan, from FightWave, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this interview. Do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day, guys.